In Algebra 2, 45% of the grade will be based on the growth in their assessment scores. So there's going to be the score from the beginning of the learning period and the score at the end of the learning period. And 45% of their grade will be based on that growth. And then another 30% of their grade is based on the number of topics that they complete each week. And this column right here tells the number of topics that they're supposed to do each week based on their assessment score. So in semester 2, the students are supposed to be around 55–60%, and you can see some of them are higher, some of them are lower than that. And so you can see here that the number of topics they need to master differs. So in general, I tell them to do 10 unless they're told otherwise. So I try to contact those students and let them know, send them a message in Alex for them to do more. Okay, so you can see then over here the topics mastered each week. Here's week 1, here's how many they mastered that week, and week 2, week 3, and week 4. So here, if the student is supposed to do 10 per week, then this should average 10 per week, or a total of 40. Okay, so this student only needed to do 5 times 4, 20 total for all 4 weeks. Okay. Now another 25% of the student's grade is based on quizzes and worksheets and notebooks. So these scores are here. And so right above here in this column, this is problem set 6, and this is the syllabus. This was the quiz they did in Alex, and I included a notebook grade here, but if it's blank, it did not affect their grade. Okay, this was just a bonus for those students that have been doing them already. Okay, so that's the basic idea of the grade book. So when you're looking through here, you can kind of quickly tell, okay, the students have a low assessment score. They need to kind of probably work a little bit harder each week, mastering topics, or you can see maybe they're missing their written work here. Okay, or in this case over here, these students, their score and their assessment at the end of the learning period was lower than their assessment score at the beginning of the learning period. So I figured that could be a couple different things, but one thing is you can see, like here, this student didn't master very many topics, so they're probably not really on and doing much, and so they need to spend more time in Alex so that they're remembering the math that they're doing. They need to review the topics they're doing, and so that they'll do better on their assessment. The other thing is maybe they just rushed through their assessment, and so that's something I'll remind them, and I have been reminding them. I reminded them before they took the assessment to really take their time on that, because that's 45% of their grade. So that's one thing you might want to ask your students, if they're not quite doing what they're supposed to do, or their grade's lower than a C, I would remind them to check the messages that I'm sending them each week in Alex, reminding them of each of the things they're supposed to do. I sent the problem set 6 and the syllabus to them 2 or 3 times during the learning period, reminding them to do this. So that's really, one of the things you could do to help is to encourage them to get on, to check their messages, and to make sure they're doing that each week. And then feel free to give me a call. Let me know if you have some more specific questions. Oh, one more thing. Check here when you're going through here after you've done their grades, and you can check over here to learning period 7, and you can see based on their last assessment score the number of topics they're supposed to complete each week.